So I want to discuss Big Marbella. How did you come up with the name Big Marbella? I know, but tell the people. Because this was... But it actually isn't that good of a story, really, is it? But it just kind of happened.
I think where
how did you name it?
I think where you were going with that is to get yourself a big up and some credit. So basically, I'll be very short and sweet because ads want some airtime.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chat. And you are the joint most recurring guest now with Vanessa Brown, Stephen Jobson, and my very special guest, Henry Berry. Welcome back to the podcast.
Some pretty big names to be coming back to, so quite privileged to be in and amongst that group. So the guys on the returning on the podcast, very happy to be in that group.
Yeah.
Good to be back.
And I think your video is probably one of the most viewed videos as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it's at least top 3, if not the second one.
Okay.
People do, I've said to you before, people actually do refer to your episode to me quite often.
Thanks, guys. Love.
Yeah, I think people are interested in the Marbella thing and that kind of stuff, which is cool. Because when did we do our podcast?
It's got to be, we're in October. Must have been July or August.
Oh no,
last year.
I know.
Was it June?
Oh my God! Right, so there's building site.
So I'm actually building my Seaview villa behind me, guys. So
it was May
sorry
time.
For that.
It was May time. I remember.
Oh, it was pre-summer, wasn't it?
Yeah,
just starting. Yeah.
So lots changed since then, hasn't it? So Henry quite kindly has given me a big pointer on how to improve the podcast on recurring guests. So instead of me getting to ask them 3 facts about themselves or just jumping into it, it's 3 things that have changed since the last podcast.
It's good. I did recommend that to you, and now I'm under pressure because I've only got 2. I thought I had 3, like being all bold. Yeah, mate, you should just ask 3 things have changed. I'm like, shit, I've only got 2.
She said that
so
about 2 minutes ago.
I might be blagging one of them, guys. Guess which one is a blag and which 2 are true. Add in the comments.
Right,
don't DM me, I'm very busy.
Right, go for it then. What's the first one?
So I think the top one, which has been pretty massive recently, is I've gone from being working with business partners to now moving on and having my own company completely. So that's been a pretty big and positive change. And the reason why I say big is that's the name of the company. So Big Marbella. Yeah. Real estate is where I'm at now, where you guys can find me. And I think the biggest change with that is them being completely responsible, being the sole decision maker, and it just makes it so much more personal. So it's been a massive change, but very exciting in that process as well. Yeah,
no, definitely. I won't ask too much about that now because I'll talk about the other 2 if you got them, and then because that's probably going to be the main topic of the conversation.
All right.
Have you got another one?
I do. It's pretty solid. I don't know if they can see. This is a bit of a get out of jail card whilst I make up the 3rd. But I've got a new tattoo for anybody who cares. So I don't know how close do I need to go to this.
Yeah, go close so you can block out the sun.
Yeah. So if you can see, guys, but it's 2 paw prints of my family dog. Sadly, she passed away, but she was 17, so she had a good innings. And as my auntie and my cousin visited me a while back, and they both wanted to get tattoos. So I've got a really good friend of mine, his boyfriend is a tattoo artist here, who's also done my other one. If you need a tattoo in Marbella, we'll put him in the link, do a shout out later. Yeah. Just all business referrals here, aren't I? So they were getting tattoos for the day. I didn't plan to get one. And then as you do, I got massive FOMO. So I always said that I'd love to get my dog's paws on me, kind of like Ed Sheeran or the paw emoji on WhatsApp. So that was the inspiration. Oh, so that's cool. Number 2.
Yeah, Trico is a legend. I remember when he got her as well.
Man, I know, because we've had time, mate.
Yeah, she was so cool.
22 years or 23 years.
A long time.
We said this last time.
Yeah, I think it's like
now we've known each other.
4-ish, wasn't it? Yeah. So, 23-ish years, something like that. But yeah, mental. But I think it's cool. Like, I personally don't have any tattoos. I don't know. I just don't think I'm not bothered about them personally.
It's not that cool, mate.
Literally, that is the reason.
I was gonna say, don't like, don't give it like a big, deep, meaningful reason. It's just not cool. Not cool.
Literally, that is the reason. But I can appreciate good tattoos.
Thank you, mate.
Right.
Appreciate you.
The 3rd one. Have you got one?
no,
Okay.
but it will come to me.
Yeah. Well, basically,
Actually, hang on, I'm there. So from last time, we chatted on Chatzzz. I don't know if you can see with the sun behind, guys, but there is a bit of construction behind us. You can see the white apartments.
yeah, probably can't see
Half
the
painted.
sun,
Probably
but
can't see
maybe
it.
at the end. We'll be able to-
Anyway, we'll do a little zoom in later, but change, that's actually a future apartment coming along, and it wasn't like that last time. So now it is. So that's my third change to sneak it in there.
That's good. That's good. So I think the main topic of this podcast that I want to talk about, and I think you want to talk about, is the new business, isn't it, really? And what's kind of changed since we first spoke, because you were working for the company that you came over to work with, weren't you? Because I think nearly 3 years you've been here now, which is absolutely mental.
Just flying by, to be honest. So yeah, little recap from last time, because I know we covered it quite a bit, but I'd moved over to essentially work for real estate agency here, was with them for about 18 months or so, then decided to set up another company with business partners, which is great experience from that, because it's almost as if it was a trial before now being completely by myself. And then, I think that natural progression just came. And I think anyone who has their own business or is entrepreneurial in that way, you just know yourself. You get to a point where you feel, I'm doing so much for somebody else, I feel I can just do it by myself, or at least take the steps to have the full accountability of having a business. And that just sort of transpired the last few months as it does.
Yeah, no, I think it's an exciting time for you. Definitely an exciting time to be a friend, which is cool. But I think the other thing that we've spoke about, since I've been back here, is about how you came over without never doing like real estate and property before, isn't it? And how you can be whatever you want to be, and just to be able to take a risk and have that self-belief in, and the confidence to be able to do something new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we were saying that a lot of people these days don't try stuff because they're too scared of being rubbish or whatever.
Or what other people think.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
So maybe let's speak about that then. So when you did come over, what was kind of like the thought process there, and what did you have like a plan, or was it just kind of go with the flow and that kind of thing?
I would love to say I came over with a well thought out plan and everything was as it was be, but to be honest, I think we touched on it last time that there was no plan. I was working on cruise ships previously, and that all stopped with COVID. Had, I think, 7 or 8 months at home, working nights at Amazon, working in the letting center in Carlisle with my godfather, just keeping busy with the expectancy that I would go back to ships. And then this opportunity to move over to Spain and get into real estate came up through a friend of mine who's living here, was also on cruise lines, and she'd just gotten into the industry as well with no real background. And that just kind of came up as she was speaking to the bosses, and they were looking to expand their team. It was a startup. So even for them, yes, they'd lived in Spain, but even the bosses hadn't really worked in real estate before. So it was a bit of a new venture for everybody. And for me, there was no plan. I literally booked the last flight out of the UK when Boris was locking us down again. Legend. And came over, booked an apartment to rent out for 3 months, and thought, if it goes good, great. If it doesn't, well, I've got nothing to lose. I'll be back in the same position that I would have been if I didn't go. And that, for me, that's a big thing of just taking that risk and knowing, I think just for myself, and I always go to, it was a recent quote by Alex Hormozy. I won't get the quote right. I won't even try, but it's similar to like you build yourself evidence, and that's where your confidence comes from. So I think even though it was very much a risk, I didn't have much fear to come and do it, because I've done a lot of things in the past where I've never had a plan. I've had no experience, but it's worked out. So I kind of lean on the past of that. Okay, I've got evidence where I've went and done something and it's been okay. So why shouldn't future Henry be able to do the same again? So even though yes, it's the fear and yes, it's the unknown, just because it's something different doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to adapt into it. So I think that's where my mindset personally comes of, why not? I think I touched on last time, I hate the idea of what if. and missing opportunities. So why not just say yes and back yourself up that you can be successful with it? You know?
Because I think a lot of people don't have that self-confidence or that self-belief, do they really?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's always personal, and we were speaking about it a bit today, like so many people are stuck in like their 9-to-5 jobs or whatever they're doing, hating every part of it, but the fear of quitting and walking away holds them to that job. And I always think, look, take no credit away. It's a very hard thing to do. And we've both done that on multiple occasions. And only now that we've done it can we sit here and say, you can do it. But the actual first step to do it holds so many people back.
Yeah.
But I just think getting that confidence to do it is, what is the worst possible thing that can happen? Someone says no to you. Okay, try somewhere else. If it doesn't work out for you doing this, well, at least you got out of somewhere that you don't enjoy doing so that you can find something that you genuinely enjoy or you're excited to get up for.
What the fuck is going on down there? It's getting louder.
Knocking the wrong building down.
Right, bearing in mind, it's nearly 7 o'clock in Spain, right? And
this is siesta time. I'll be just waking up now.
But I think that's a very good point. And say, when we spoke in May last year, obviously, when you came over, you didn't know about real estate. Well, you were kind of into it, weren't you? But you weren't fully into it.
In terms of any skill set to come over to Spain where I didn't speak the language, I've never worked in selling real estate before. I didn't have the qualifications, certificates, or the legal knowledge of anything. It's like going in blind. So, no knowledge to it. Hadn't done it before. But I think, again, like you lean back on your past experiences, and with my work on the cruise ships, yes, it was fitness and interpersonal training, but it was a massive amount of selling. And that transfer of skills, I think, really helped me adapt. But again, it's like you said, the fear of the unknown. I've never done this before, and I'm jumping into a country, an environment, a culture that I know nothing about to take that risk.
Yeah, because as well, say, because for people that don't know, like in real estate in Marbella, pretty much all of the agents are self-employed, aren't they?
Yeah,
so most people who work in real estate are technically like their own business owners, aren't they? But how does it work? You're better to explain.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different to kind of how employment works in the UK. So typically here, to be an agent full-time, you take your autonomo, which translates to being self-employed. So a lot of the time, agencies, you don't get a work contract with them, so there's not necessarily that much stability. They would call it a collaboration. So I would sign a document, said I'm Henry Berry, I'm self-employed, but I'm working with this agency. So if they wanted to get rid of me tomorrow, they could. There's no legal obligation there. Or if I wanted to walk away, I could. So most agencies, you sign your terms, you agree on your commission, you have your confidentiality when you're working with them that you represent them. But in terms of just being able to come across and work, you need that self-employed basis. So it's kind of that balance of you're working for yourself, but with...
Yes, you got that support network. But when speaking about risks and stuff, obviously you mentioned about setting up business with business partners. So when did you think that, say, working in collaboration with another company, you wanted to set up on your own and you wanted to kind of take that next step or like take a risk, you know what I mean? Because from what you told me, it was relatively comfortable and you were getting leads, you were getting sales, you had that support network and stuff like that. Yeah. But when did you kind of decide, or when did you kind of think that you wanted to take that leap or take the next step in your real estate journey, should we say?
Yeah, I think to be honest, because again, working with the business partners previously before taking this jump, the business was incredibly successful, and we were, collectively as a company and individually as agents and partners, really benefiting from that. But I think it got to the point where we've grown very quickly. There's a lot of success there. And I just felt that the direction the company was going, and also alongside my own goals, I think the ambition started to burn more, and I started to ask the question, okay, what's next for the company? What's next for me? And I think the answer for the company is they're going to keep growing and building, which I'd be happy to support. But actually for myself now, having worked for agencies before, having worked now as a partnership, the next step for me was, be an owner myself. And I think the ambition to have something that I have complete control over, to guide the direction, to really build a brand that reflects my values as a person and also as an agent, that fire started to build up. And I think for me, it was just a case of, look, I've had an amazing time here. The company that we set up is and still is doing fantastic. But I just want to create my own brand and do it for me and help other people that are maybe in positions working for other companies come into my agency and grow themselves and become more successful. So I think a lot of companies on the coast, there's massive amounts of competition. I mean, you can see yourself being here. There's more agencies than there are bars, restaurants, and coffee shops, you know? But I think for me to give back some of my success and to train people and pass on that skill set so that they can then have the rewards I've been able to do myself, that's a big fulfillment factor for me. So I think the ambition to grow myself was sort of parallel with taking the next step and taking the risk. Because again, there's no guarantee that I can repeat or could have repeated what was happening at the company, and you've got people to support you. I think taking a jump and doing it completely by myself, fully self-funded, you know, that was something I wanted to challenge myself with as well.
Yeah. No, I think it's good, and like I relate to your position to where I was as well. You know what I mean? Whereas I say worked for events company at uni when I finished for a brief spell, and then set up with business partner, and then obviously split, and then set up on my own, and that kind of thing. And I always say to people, and I say to you as well, that I think it was invaluable for me to go into my first businesses with a partner or with few people. Yeah. Because people who haven't started their own business won't understand, but like when you're in it with someone else, they can understand and they can relate to the situations you're in like nobody else.
You've got someone to bounce off.
Yeah.
It's energy.
And like, even if you try and explain it to, I don't know, your friends or your family members, they don't truly understand because they're not actually like in it with you at the time. So like for me, when I was 22 or whatever it was, like I don't have a fucking clue what was going on, you know? Yeah. So like having someone else to just be going through the struggles with, or making the mistakes and not being so hard on yourself and that support network, I think it's good. So what was it like for you then? Do you think it was a good experience going into your first proper business, should we say proper business with partners, and then learning, making mistakes or that kind of thing? Or what did you kind of learn from that experience before you've taken the jump now?
Yeah, massively. I think the transition of starting a business with other people it was a massive positive, I think, because we all have our own personalities, our own skill set, and our own opinions. And okay, the opinions weren't always in alignment, but that then created, you know,
it's important though. You don't always want to agree on everything.
Exactly. That, to me, it creates an environment where we can all express ourselves, and you've got different ways of thinking. You know, sometimes you look at something, okay, it's a square. Other people, no, it's a circle. But you don't see it the same as they do, and they'll see things that you could never have seen, that then you think, actually, you know what? I would have never even picked up on that. That's great. Let's work on our ideas together and create, you know, the best solution or option for us. So I think it was invaluable to be working with partners for that. You know, in the terms of, you know, when you do close a deal, you have people around you who know exactly how hard you've worked within your team. You know, it's like no one sees the work you do behind, you know, the deal. Like they see you on Instagram or okay, great, Henry sold another villa, must be good for him, great, whatever. But they don't see the intricacy and the daily or hourly sometimes battles you have. So I think to go into business with partners who all want to grow, who all are like-minded and who have different skill sets to contribute, that was invaluable for me to have that kind of backbone. You know, you don't feel like you're alone and you've got that support around you. So I think again, it's always case by case with each person, but if you have an opportunity to work with people before jumping on your own, I think it's a great stepping stone. It's not always an opportunity everyone can take depending your field, but I think if you can have that partnership and someone to work alongside, it'll help you fast track to where you would maybe then take your own brand and career separately?
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you want a support network. Like, I'm lucky now, I've got like Yoni and stuff, and he helps me a lot, and I've got like Zishan, and I got a good team, you know what I mean? I've been very lucky to build that, but I think it is, especially where I'm at, I like it being my own thing, but then it's like a thing together as well. Like I always refer to Yoni's like as our clients and stuff like that because they are. But then, so setting up the new company then, what was that like? Because obviously going on your own, it's a bit more scary, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it kind of, when it manifests from the idea and the ambition to then the reality that, okay, this is going to cost a bit of money. This is going to be, 4 times the work, and all the realities of it coming together, I think were quite stressful in a way, but also like super exciting. Like I said before, the fear factor for me is if it doesn't go well, I can always come back to where I was. The only loss of that I may have is, okay, time and money. But I always look at it, you're never really losing time, even through a bad experience, if you choose to learn from it. So in that sense, all I'm going to lose is the investment I put into. But looking back at the evidence I've built up over the years of the success there, I know that I will always make that back to some degree. So yes, there's a bit of fear, a bit of butterflies in the stomach, but I think for me, the excitement was there because this is something that is completely a reflection of who I am, how I work, the client base I built up over the last 3 years of being here that can transition and refer to new people in the future. It was just a really exciting process for me, and something that I'm very proud to be able to say, this is my company, this is my brand, and this is what I'm building, and I'm introducing people to be part of my team is something I'm very passionate about. So it's, I think just really exciting ultimately.
Yeah. Now, the question I was going to ask was, say, what does excite you about it? But I think you kind of answered the question in the answer, you know what I mean? Because that's the thing, butterflies, if you weren't getting butterflies, or you weren't like
something wrong.
Yeah, no, or you like weren't a bit scared and stuff, and it's, I don't know, that's what keeps you going, isn't it? Like the fire in your belly to get up in the morning and get up to work.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nobody else getting out of bed now, is there?
Well, that's for me. And I think it immediately throws, and you'll know this from going from your partnership with the company to being by yourself, it immediately throws a huge amount of discipline onto you. And I think that's something that you can't learn, and you can't read about it, you can't prepare for until it's just you. And okay, you might wake up in the morning, you feel a bit shit, you're a bit tired, you didn't sleep. The work still has to be done. And I know, yes, if you're working in a job of 9 to 5, or even if you have business partners, you still have to be responsible. But I think that moment when it is just you that has to get whatever's in front of you done, like it kind of levels you up a little bit. You sort of look at it through a different lens as an owner, and everything you do then has a lot more purpose because it's for you, it's by you. You add that personal brand to it, and it just it helps you elevate yourself as well. So I think that side of it is massively exciting to build.
I think discipline and consistency are two of the most important things for me personally, isn't it? And like you say, discipline thing, I bang on about it all the time, but I wouldn't have stopped drinking if I wasn't doing it by myself, or if I had my own business, you know what I mean? And I don't have anything against drinking. I say to everybody, all my mates drink and stuff, but it's just like, that's one thing for me that I just cut out because it helps me become more disciplined and motivated and that kind of thing. And and if you listen to this podcast, you probably think, oh, Adam and Henry, they've got the shit together, whatever. Like, I'm just working out as I go along, and not every day's perfect as well. Like I was saying to you about this Whoop band thing, there's little things that I do to try and get my sleep and my recovery better.
It's so important.
But you can't do it every day. It's impossible. And somebody who does it 7 days a week and all the little things, you think, you have no life at all. Like, if you can do it.
Good days, bad days.
And that's what I mean when you're saying about you still need to get up in the morning. There is days where like I'll lie in and I think, oh, well, I'll have an extra hour or two in bed or whatever because I'm feeling a bit shit. But as long as you can maintain that consistency over time and still show up, like you say, most of the days, then you are going to improve, aren't you? Nobody's
exactly.
perfect. Like, nobody is perfect, unfortunately.
And I think that's the thing, and I'm pretty sure I touched on it on the last podcast, so we talk about it a lot, but like perfection isn't the goal. It's like, it's never going to be perfect. Like we were going through, for really good example recently, like going through my brand logos. Yeah. Ads has done all the branding, everything for Big, so that's why it looks so good. So cheers for that. But I said I will be an absolute nightmare because I'm a visual person and I have to see, the logos in different styles, different ways. And it's like, it's never going to be perfect, but as long as you're looking at progression and looking at where you are, at least just get it done. Because if you focus so much on perfection, it's not going to be something that's achievable, and it's going to be good days and bad days, so as long as you show up and just get it done, then you're going to have that success. And I think a lot of what I've learned, especially this year, is not looking at perfection, but also not being so hard on yourself when you have a bad day. It's like if you're on a diet and you go off the rails for a day, like, it's fine, it's a day. As long as you sort yourself out and get back on track for the next week, or if you have a heavily social weekend, but you're back to the gym on Monday, you will be fine. If you go off the rails for a month, it's not going to happen. It's the same with business, and I think any way that you're chasing success. If you focus on the day-to-day habits and the discipline that you can instill in your routine and just work at it bit by bit, get all the small habits, like you're saying there, together, then you're gonna be a lot better than where you are today just by focusing on the small things.
Yeah.
It's like a snowball.
Oh, 100%. And what do you reckon?
This fly is loving my aftershave, by the way.
We're having a nightmare recording this podcast, aren't we? What do you reckon the expectation versus reality then of setting up on your own is then? Because did you think, I don't know, people think it's easy. I know you wouldn't have thought it was easy, but was it what you expected? Was it harder? Was it easier? Did you have to do more things? Did you have to jump through some hoops? Because I know a lot of people will think, bloody hell, setting up a business abroad as well.
Yeah.
It's like a topic that people would be interested in finding out what it was actually like.
Yeah, of course. I think you can kind of look at it in two ways. And I think the thought of setting up a business is always massive on your mind in terms of like, wow, that's such a big thing. But I think for me, in the way that I look at it, and would maybe advise to people who may be thinking of it, if you've got a skill set or an excitement about something, like that's where the core of the business comes from. It's not the details around it, getting a company, doing the logos, but it's your idea that you're passionate about is, I think, what makes the business very doable. So for me, I think the expectation versus reality, because I transitioned from an agency then to working with partners and then to where I am now, I think for me, it was a really smooth transition. I think the reality of things took a lot longer than what I'd expected and planned for, just in terms of getting set up and getting back into the market, because things just naturally, slow down. Things are available. You have to push dates back. So I think that would be something I'd be cautious of, is just, be disciplined with the time and expect it to not necessarily happen overnight. Simple things may take more time than what you expect, but the end result is going to be that you've got something that you can completely reflect on and that is yours. So it's worth the time, it's worth a bit of struggle. And as a business owner, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't matter what background you have or what funds you put into it or whatever your position. It's something that you're starting new, and to be patient with the build-up. But if you put your time, energy, money, and your passion into it, it's going to be successful.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen overnight.
No, I think a lot of business owners are impatient, aren't they? And everyone wants things now. But I think when you think more long-term, well, we speak a lot about stuff, but like when you think more long-term, it's different, isn't it? Like rather than thinking, I need to do this today and I need to get this money in now, I need to sign this client. It's more like if you just build a relationship and you think, I'm going to be doing this for a very long time.
Exactly. We think where do I want my business to go? Like especially in real estate, and I can relate to this, everybody sees the big deals or the mega villas or the top guys and think, I'm just going to start an agency and it'll just happen for me. And some are blessed, you might have a good client base from the background and continuous investors, or if you start in scratch, the consistency of showing up regularly and getting your personality across is what will put you in a massive, I think, rocket to success better than anything. You know, if you look on social media from any agency that work in Marbella or even around the world, it makes it look like it's so easy. And everybody, especially from social media now, want overnight success. Like they want, all right, I want it to be done now. I want to be closing deals this week, which is great to strive for. But I think if you can manage your expectation and just be consistent with how you grow the business, making sure it keeps your personality and your core values, that is what brings clients in from all different budgets, different places in the world. And time again, I'll have old clients who refer friends or family or even people they meet. Actually, this last week I had a meeting with a couple who got referred to me from a client who bought almost 3 years ago. And he was on holiday in Greece at a bar, started talking to these guys. Oh, I just came from Spain. I've got a development there. They were like, oh my God, we've wanted to buy in Spain forever. Passed them on and they purchased last week. So cool. It's just pure word of mouth, but that came through. And I think for me is how I keep my business consistent with my personality and my goals. So the clients almost feel like an extension of the business. Like my clients are proud to be part of my brand. And that's something that's really important for me to keep to the core of it. So I think if you have that consistency and keep putting your personality into whatever you're doing, that's when it builds for years and years, opposed to I'm going to be a success overnight, because it doesn't happen.
Yeah, word of mouth referrals are so powerful. Like I know I do social media for my job, but word of mouth is the best form of marketing, 100%.
It's just so fulfilling, you know, because you didn't ask them to do that. You didn't put any pressure on the clients as, oh, please send me people. It's just they value you, that you've done a great job, whatever you've done for them, and they're telling other people, like, this is the guy. If you think of buying a house in Spain, speak to Henry. If you think of social media, speak to Adam. And that's when you get that referral and that phone call, a mess. Oh, I just spoke to Greg and he referred me. It's like, okay. Trust already, haven't you? Yeah, you've got the trust. It's like, wow, okay. Like, that's massive fulfillment for me that I've been recommended from the tens of thousands of agencies here. So, yeah, it's key.
Yeah, no. So, you've obviously worked with the company, you've had a partnership, and now you're on your own. What are you doing differently now you're on your own? Because obviously, I'd imagine you've taken things that you like and things that you don't like from both of the two previous things, and when you work back in the UK and COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff are you doing different, or are you hoping to strive towards to do different to give your clients a better service and get them better deals and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of what I've picked up from the other environments I've worked in that I really like, compared to aspects that I would change, I think the biggest thing that I'm doing now, and it sounds really simple, as you know, all business owners will probably, well, isn't that obvious? But my attention to detail, to building the relationship with the client, is now even more focused, to the point where when I'm bringing new people into the team and training them, yes, of course, it's about the product and the property and knowing the areas and just doing a good job, but that's what I'm employing you for. What I'm trying to get across now in particular is really what our brand is and how that transitions to the client, so that they feel part of our growth as we're coming through as well. And that, I think for me, that's my biggest focus on keeping that longevity of client. And no client is an old client. It's just a client we may have worked with a few months ago or a few years ago, but how can we keep them in our community? And I think coming from the fitness industry and transitioning into real estate, you know, if you look at fitness and, like, you know, your group fitness classes or your CrossFit, they have a massive community at the core of them. So I kind of want to take that feeling and concept with how I want to run the business now, to have that community within my team, but also extend that to my clients, and even look at the potential of connecting my current clients together, just as working with us, and how they can then benefit from adding a new relationship, friendship, almost like a networking circle, but built through us as the core of the community, so that we can then grow within that, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, yeah. I think company culture is so important, especially in like
everything
in 2023 and the modern day, isn't it? Because I'm not sure, but this is just my opinion, but I think like the hustle culture, kind of like grind, maybe coming to a bit of an end for some people, I don't know, this is my opinion now. I know I'm kind of out of the bubble. I'm in my own little bubble.
Nice.
But it's more like work-life balance, and like for me, it's communication and like honesty and that kind of thing. Really, with my clients anyway. I know I'm not probably the best person to give this example, but what I find is people just respect like your honesty, isn't it? Like if you're honest with them and say, oh, we can't do this and we can't do that, or it might take a bit longer, or that kind of thing, they respect that. And if you're just an actual human being to them as well, not just like a robot and just going through the processes or saying, all right, you've got 20 minutes of my time, or you've got a certain amount of time and then I'm off. Yeah. If you just actually treat people like a human being, then people will respect that and you will have better relationships and that kind of thing. I don't know, that's kind of like the culture aspect of just being a sound person. I don't know.
No, I completely agree with that. I think that relatability, and again, it sounds so simple. People will listen and be like, well, that's easy, and wouldn't you do that anyway? But just focusing on those simple touches of being relatable to your client, being engaged with your client and treating them, okay, they're, like you said, just simply being human, being a good person, being honest through business. Sounds so simple that should be the minimum expectation anyway. But especially, I think this is what I'm very conscious of from previous work environments. What is at the top, or like through the owners, directors, or whatever's at the top, trickles down to the team. So it doesn't matter how good of a community the team may have. If there's problems at the top, that always comes through the heart of the business. It's just like a pyramid. It's like whatever's there, it really affects everything down. So I think what I'm really conscious now with my drive towards creating that community and culture is, how do I continue to grow whilst keeping that core value? And I don't want anything to rock that, whether we expand in size with the company, no matter how much success is there, that's the focus on keeping it really client focused, keeping that relationship, keeping that rapport, and never growing too big so that quality of service and communication drops off. So I think for me, having been in these different environments, you learn what to do and also more importantly what not to do.
Yeah, and what kind of like environment you want to be a part of as well, isn't it? And like, oh yeah, I like how they reacted in that situation, or I don't quite like the way they responded when that person said that thing. So it's just like taking little bits, isn't it? And thinking what's going to be the best way to apply it in my own scenario. And what I think as well is people want to be part of other people's journeys. And like, if you're forward thinking and you're on the up and on the rise, like people will want to be part of that as well.
Jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly.
They love it.
And a simple example, I think, is quite relatable, is like me following people on YouTube, right? I've subscribed to people that I watch for like 10, 12 years. Yeah. Like Max Tunin, whatever. Yeah. He's definitely never going to listen to this, for a big shout out. Yeah, but another example, Rob Lipset, he lives in Marbella. Like, I've subscribed to them for years, and you've seen them like in the fucking mum dad's kitchen or in like the uni houses and stuff, and now you see them now
protein shakes and raw eggs.
Yeah, and now you see them now with successful businesses, living in Marbella or multi-million-pound companies and stuff, and like you just want to be a part of that. Not that like you even really know them, but just being part of that journey and thinking, oh yeah, they're sound. And like we were saying, when you speak to clients and stuff, just asking like what they got up to at the weekend or what they're doing for the rest of the week and stuff. It's just simple things like that. And even if like they ask me, everyone's favourite topic of conversation is themselves. Like, always. If you ask me about Everton, maybe I won't talk to you, but I love talking about them. You know,
best team in the world.
Yeah, just like little things like that, and actually caring, not just asking because you feel like you have to ask.
Yeah, it's not just I'm trying to get to know you because I think it's a good thing. It's like, no, you genuinely want to. Yeah, and that thing. I don't know if it was from a podcast or just something that came across my mind the other day, but I think the way that I would look at how I like to do business is that it's not your goal to be friends with every client, because ultimately it's a professional position and you're offering a service for one of their needs, to put it simply. That's what business is. But I kind of work as if the goal is that every client should want to be my friend.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's a good way to put it, definitely.
Because the service is what it is, and that builds a relationship. But then I think, especially for me and what I'm building with the culture, is if you've done such a good enough job professionally that they want to be your friend from that. That doesn't change the professional relationship or they see you any more or any less, but it means that you've connected. It means that they've got enough in common with you or enough, energy to want to be around you more in a social environment, introduce, them to the rest of the family who are going to come and use the apartment they just bought or whatever it is. But if you think of whatever job you're doing or however it is, if your goal can be do my job so well that they want to be my friend, doesn't necessarily mean you are, but you leave that impression that, I really want to spend time with this guy.
Yeah.
Or I want to tell everybody I know about this guy or girl before we get pulled up on there in the comments.
Or tree.
Or won't go down that route. But I want to tell people about this person. And that should be the goal, to know that you've done a really good job, whatever it is.
Yeah. And it's just like like I said again, if you're a sound person, then people will respect that. And like say when I've had clients that have left, believe it or not, clients do leave, they don't stay with me forever. And you're still on talking terms with them and you still message them and stuff and you just think, all right, yeah. And like you sell people houses, you want to speak to them for 3 years and they'll ring you up and be like, oh, Henry,
how's it going? I've not heard from you from too long. You okay? And it's like they're checking on me, how I don't care about the business so much, but we've not spoken just because we're busy and everyone has their lives and you have to move on with who's in front of you. But it's like, no, they're calling to see how you are, and that's a sign to me from all my success and relationships I've built that you've done a hell of a job and you've left such an impression on them that you're now, to some degree, no matter how small it is, part of their life. And I think that's something for me. Again, we're talking about sort of values and goals and what the ambition is with the business. That's the after effect I want to have on every single client, where we can influence that we're a little bit of them now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So coming to the end of 2023 now, so what do you reckon the plans are for 2024? What are the ambitions? Have you got a plan, or are you just kind of winging it, going with the flow? Or
no, I think
what's in the pipeline that you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think in terms of I love going with the flow, and me very well, I'm very spontaneous in that sense and like to just get hands on, see what happens and adapt from there. But I think now that we've got a good platform and a really good structure, I think I just ask myself and also the team, the question is, what can I do more? What can I do better? And if you're 1% better every day, different areas and aspects of the business, we'll just keep building. And that's where we spoke about before, the consistency of showing up. I think the plan for the future now is to be able to grow the team gradually and along with the business itself, so we can get the right people in that have my ambition and drive to take on the company's values. I think the goals for 2024 are just going to be, how big can we get this? How big is Big Marbella going to go? I think and this is one of the reasons why I got into the business in the first place. There's no roof to the ceiling. You get back what you put in. And I think having taken my experience from other companies and everything this last couple of years and putting it into one direction that I'm very passionate about, is I don't know where we're going to be in 2024, but where can we get to? Yeah.
Where do you reckon you get your mindset from? I'm always intrigued because you're a very positive person. A lot more positive than me all the time.
Yeah, you're a bit negative, like negative Nancy. To be honest, I think
like when you say there, like the 1% thing, like I sometimes think about the 1% thing, like with my sleep and that.
Yeah.
But you are very good at doing little things that help you. Like even in the gym earlier, Henry just warm-ups. I don't do warm-ups. And like
getting old now, mate. I've got to do warm-ups.
And like your Reiki thing and your yoga thing and little things like that are like good. I'm too lazy for that stuff. Yeah. I shouldn't be, but I am. Yeah. And like where do you think you can get the mindset from?
I think, to be honest, from
do you think you just think you're born with it, or do you think you can nurture it, or do you think you just got it? Because I think they're the three different things, isn't it?
Three
that people
different
would
aspects.
think. Yeah.
I mean, I think to answer it quite quickly, some people are naturally born with a certain way of thinking, and it can be more successful than others. But without a doubt, it is something you can learn, you can train, and you can build upon. And I think everybody internally will tell themselves, oh, I could never do that. And we've all been there with whatever it is. Oh, I could never lift this weight, or I could never move to another country, or I could never be as good a shape as this person. And the only thing that stops you is you and your self-talk, which is something I'm massive on, because you have more conversations with yourself than anyone else in your life. So I always say, learn to get on with yourself. Like, who are you as a person? Like, what are you really like? And I think if you look more to getting to know you, then you can start adding in these small little details. You can't change overnight. And I think me and you speak about this a lot. And you mentioned before of like watching people like Rob Lipson and Max Juni on their journeys. They're normal guys. Anyone who you look up to now, if whatever industry you're in, whether it's beauty, fashion, sport, if you look at all of the top performers in your industry, look at where they started and they were similar, if not maybe worse off than you, where you are right now. So I think you ask, where do I get the mindset from? And it's, well, look around you. There's evidence everywhere that whatever you think can't be done, you can, because somebody's already done it. And people leave clues behind. Look at anybody who's ever written a book. There's the answers. Someone had a 30, 40, 50-year career in business, and hey, what did they do? They wrote a book that you can read in a few hours. That's a shortcut, fast track. So I think where I've got my mindset from now today and where it sits was different to last year, was different to 5 years ago, different to 10 years ago. But if you want to better yourself, ask yourself the kind of person you are and the kind of person you want to become, and then ask what's missing, what's the gap. Okay, well, I play video games every night till 2 a.m. I'm knackered. Okay, well then you've got no energy to better yourself. Play video games till 10 o'clock and say after 10, turn everything off and small steps, whatever it is, make those small habits and start to build on them so that you can then over time be consistent and build up to where it is.
Yeah, I think the key is self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like knowing yourself.
100%.
Because my opinion is, say people want to go 0 to 100, or they want to go to start to the finish, don't they?
Doesn't happen.
Like you just said, if you can do the small steps, you will get there, but it'll take more time. If you try and get from the bottom to the top in one go, you might do it, but you're probably going to fall back down, aren't you? So like knowing who you are as a person and then just like accepting that, isn't it? And then like you say, improving it over time.
Lean into it. I think I was listening to a podcast the other day and it's like, I think from Stephen Bartlett, who you need to listen to, legend. Tag us in a post, please, Stephen. But it's like, lean into your weirdness. Like we were talking about this before. No one is as unique as you. So it doesn't matter if we all did the same job and got paid the same, the way that we express ourselves is completely different. That's your setting point. That is what makes people want to spend time with you, is how you do yourself. So if you don't know yourself, you don't know how to project that. So like you said, know yourself, be self-aware. And then, where am I now? Where do I want to get to? Is the person sat in this chair now able to get to where that goal is? Yes. But what's the difference between that goal and right now? And then just work it out. Yeah. Be true to yourself, work it out, and start picking up good habits. Because
there's so many businesses out there, isn't there? There's so many real estate agents in Marbella. There's so many social media people in the UK. But I always say to people, what's the one differentiating factor? Like, people probably offer the same stuff that you do. So people offer the same stuff I do, if not better. But they go to you for you, don't they? At the moment, 100%. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, people don't even know my company business name. Like, I'm fine with that, you know what I mean? And people won't know at the moment when you've moved over. And it's like, they go to you for you and they go to me for me. And it's like, they say, lean into it and just accept that you're you. Don't try and be somebody else, because you're only going to be the second best version of them anyway.
Exactly. And I think it's like that. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and do something new, like for me, at the end of the day, my actual job is exactly the same as every other agent here. A client wants to buy a house, I can fulfill that need. There's only so many ways you can actually do that. Handful. I'm not going to change that. There's a process. But the way and how I interact and build and do that, that's unique to me. So whatever I think career you're in now or position you're in now or where you want to get to, you are the unique selling point. No one does you better than you. So know yourself and go from there. Yeah. No one can replicate that.
Nah. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I'm going to give the example of clothing brands, yeah?
Yeah.
People just try and copy other people's clothing brands, styles, designs, and that kind of thing. And you think, how are you ever going to be as good as, say, Represent? I really like Represent, right?
Loves it. Sponsor.
So, and I see people setting up brands all the time, the same style with like the Owners Club on the back and that, and the same graphic designs. And you think, you're never going to be as good as them because they've had a 10, 13 year head start and they've got crazy budgets. Why don't you just try and be your own unique thing? And it's like, I don't know. It's difficult. Like I think all the time, like the videos we create, a video is a video, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ones we create are better than anybody else that I know at the moment that does the same kind of thing. Because it's our own style and you can see our style.
Your personality comes across, your brand comes across, your interaction comes across.
And it's the same with you as well. Like anybody can sell property, but people will go to you for you and they'll refer you because of you and the experience and the way they made you feel and stuff. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I think you can copy and get inspiration from other people, can't you?
Yeah, of course.
But you put your own twist on it. You don't just copy it directly. It's, I don't know.
And that's the thing. You can never truly copy someone or be copied because that last bit that's missing is that person's identity and their influence to it. So, you know, it's the same as what I look around. There's some incredible successful agents and agencies here. So I look around to learn from them and gain experience. Okay, well, how do they do it? They're leading in terms of the marketing and the structure. Okay, well, how can I do that, interpret my way? Because that obviously works, but how can I manifest it and project it properly?
Yeah, you said marketing, right? So I want to discuss Big Marbella. How did you come up with the name Big Marbella? I know, but tell the people. Because this was... But it actually isn't that good of a story, really, is it? But it just kind of happened.
I think
how did you name it?
I think where you were going with that is to get yourself a big up and some credit. So basically, I'll be very short and sweet because ads want some airtime. So the company limited name is the Berry Investment Group, and if you abbreviate it, BIG is big. For those of you who can't spell. So we're on a Zoom call, chatting, going through branding and ideas and stuff. And I was like, yeah. Berry Investment Group, big, because then you can be like, oh, big this, big whatever. And you're like, oh, well, Big Marbella, because you're in Marbella and it fits. And I was like, it's pretty cool.
But I think the thing was, wasn't it? Like the hardest thing these days is finding the URL, like the domain name, like the www.
That's impossible.
And the social media handles on like all the platforms. And we were just like, surely we can't find this. And what did we go for the Instagram first?
Yeah, went on to Insta because we were like, okay, Big Marbella, that sounds great. And then, yeah, because you're like, oh, have you not got it on for the domains?
Yeah.
Because I'd got the Berry Investment Group. And so we're on a call. So we looked at it on GoDaddy. Well, you looked at it. And
I was going to buy it.
Yeah. Adam was there like, right, 12 quid, I'm in. And I looked at it was 15 quid because he was looking. So I picked up interest. I was like, right, you owe me 3 quid next. You're clearly trying to do me over here. So then bought it. So we got the domain, fine. And you like, oh, check on like Insta, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. So you, to be fair, credit to him, his idea and grafted. 2%. But no, it's just unbelievable that something so simple but actually quite effective wasn't taken anywhere.
I couldn't
anywhere.
I literally couldn't believe it. Like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I don't know if we got Twitter. We'll have to check. We got Twitter, even though we probably won't use it.
I'll call Elon. He's buying a villa with me, 200 million.
But it reminds me of when we talk about Max Union all the time, when he set up actual candy and sour strips. It's just like 2 simple words. And when we search for like GoDaddy, like big Ibiza or big Dubai or big London, everyone was taken. And like Marbella is well known, isn't it? And it's a popular destination.
Massive, especially for but even that, if you heard Big Marbella and didn't know it was directly with real estate, you think, oh, is it events? Is it tours? Is it nightlife? Like what is it? So it's, anyway, cheers, mate. Thank you.
I'll take some credit for that, but it's fine. But yeah, so I think, like, obviously, so when we last spoke, you were working for the company, weren't you? You went into business with partners, and now you by yourself, isn't it? And you come to 3 years. It'll probably be 3 years since.
3 years in November.
Since you moved there. And one thing I want to know, and I'm tempted by, and a lot of people want to know, like, what is the lifestyle actually like in Marbella? Because routine is a big thing. And if you're in a good routine, you're more productive. I even feel like I'm in a good routine. I've been here 2 days, you know what I mean?
I'm dragging you to the gym at 8 in the morning every day.
And like, what is it actually like? Is the not a temptation with nightlife? Is the summer crazy? Is the winter off season okay? Or what would you kind of say as a whole?
Literally everything you just said there. So like, I think for me, the lifestyle here from Malaga coming down to Marbella, like every 10, 15 minutes you drive either direction, east to west, you've got a bit of everything. It's a different atmosphere, different energy. So you are so spoiled for a destination that can cater for anything you want. Like if you want to party Monday to Monday, all day, all night, like you've got it. If you want to be up in the mountain, chilled, having an escape, doing yoga, doing a retreat, whatever, you've got it. So I think for me, especially now as a business owner and having had the last 3 years here, I've kind of seen a balance of everything of going out every Thursday to Sunday, dragging myself to Monday, getting back in the routine for months on end, and it's a fantastic time. But you soon realize that here, okay, it's not cheap to live here. And everything you do comes at a cost. So, okay, if I enjoy having a party, my gym work is going to be pretty shit. I'm not going to be as productive. So I think the lifestyle here, you have so much choice, so much distractions, and so much temptation with just, it's a great place to be. But I think having achieved it personally now, I feel like I'm very disciplined, but also I've got such freedom to enjoy what I want to do when I want to. So whether it is the nightlife or going away for the weekend in one of the resorts, the balance there now, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have my own business, is so that when I get to a stage, I can control my time and spend it how I want to spend it. If I don't want to work on a Wednesday, I'll make sure that I don't have to work on the Wednesday and go somewhere. So I think the lifestyle here offers so much to so many people, whether you want to be here for a long weekend, move over completely, have a couple of months a year, if you can work online. You've got such diversity here that I think it fits everybody. But for me, living, working, building a business, it's about having the discipline, picking the right crowds to be around. Marbella's big for, massive business cultures, which means there's a lot of money flying around. You go to the clubs, there's bottles being pulled in by princes from Saudi Arabia, and it's a great time, but that's not always sustainable. And I think from the outside looking in, people who know Marbella or the coast, it's a big party place. You come for the weekends, you spend a lot of money, you go home and whatever. But I think to build a lifestyle over here is massively rewarding, but you've got to have that balance and get your priorities in check. If you can get your work done and look after yourself and have a good group around you, it's one of the best places to be. And I've traveled all over the world with ships and on the cruises. And there's not another country or place right now in the world that I would compare that has so much to offer than here. So it's...
Yeah, I think it's what you make of it, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
It's like what you want. Like, I've kind of done it both of, say, when I came last year for a month, and then you live in there, aren't you, for that month, where it's different when you come for like a few nights.
Yeah, come for a few nights. It's like boom, beach clubs, bars, restaurants, out, and that's it. Fantastic.
It's not sustainable, really, unless you're a fucking millionaire.
Animal.
Yeah.
Animal of the sesh.
Yeah. But like, I think the gym scene as well is unbelievable. Like, I've just been to Paddle Gym, and then we just signed up to IO, haven't we?
IO.
And then it's like, the gym's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, if you came over and just like literally wanted to gym, work, and be healthy,
go to the beach, have a dip in the sea every day, just...
Oh, sound, yeah.
It's...
And then you can go out at like the weekend or every couple of weeks and go to like a unbelievable... Like, I'm not really that bothered about clubs anymore. I'm too old and I don't drink. But like, go to restaurants and that, and like or a bar and just like have a chill.
Have like shows, chill, whatever. Like,
unbelievable.
Exactly.
And it reminds me of like Dubai, because Dubai is one of the places where, and similar to Marbella, if you want to spend money, you can spend money, can't you? If you want to like live within your means and live sound, you can do as well, isn't it?
And you really can. Like, I think with the variety the coast has now, you really, really can. So it's like, as you say, it's what you make of it. And I think building a lifestyle here is very, very achievable and attainable, where people look at it, oh, my bed, it's so expensive, it's fancy. Yeah, it's got that. It's like anywhere. Any city has got its more expensive bits and more cheaper parts. But I think here now, having been here for 3 years and kind of transitioned between different mindsets, different focuses myself, like you've got that all around balance.
No, definitely. Right, let's round this up because we need to go to yoga.
Power yoga, mates. You're gonna love this.
Power yoga. I'm going to be sweating my dish off. So where can people find you, follow you, get in contact, all that fun stuff, and who would be the right person to get in contact with you if they wanted property in Marbella?
Solid. So you can
Mate, don't ask me what the fucking URL is again.
No, I was going to say, what's my email password, please? Been locked out so many times. It's unbelievable. No, you can find me at Big Marbella on Instagram. Emails info@bigmarbella. Number will shoot out there on the ads. And listen, to be quite honest, I work with anybody from any budget, looking at any area. So if you're interested in being over here to rent, to live, any aspect of Marbella, we do concierge, we look at events, just get in touch, reach out. And as Ads knows, I'm always happy to host. I actually have one question for you.
Go on.
If we've got time, just to spin the roles.
Yeah, here we go. I'm nervous now.
Look at the change in body language. I just like, hang on. I asked the questions here.
Good.
Taking over. So if you, mate, you're so nervous.
I actually am.
If you could have a billboard
Yeah.
on the motorway that people drive past and they see whatever it is, if you could write anything on a billboard to your followers right now, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, just in general, to like kind of motivate and inspire them.
Anything you pass on.
I think it would probably be, is it like limited by words or sentences?
Billboards, you got the brush, paint, whatever.
Something along the lines of, I'm trying to think of how to word it, but something along the lines of just be happy where you're at.
Yeah.
Like something along them lines. I'd probably have to put it into Chatgpt to make it sound a bit better.
Yeah.
But I feel like the reason something like that, I think is, I'm the same, is when you want to achieve something, yeah, you always strive to that next thing. When you achieve that, well, certain kind of people, then you're onto the next thing.
Yeah.
And then onto the next thing. And then you think, fuck, I'm actually doing all right, you know. When sometimes I do self-reflect, not as much as I should, and I look back to a year ago and I think, oh, I've actually made quite a bit of progress here.
Yeah.
And it was only really when I did say, like, numbers are a big thing for me. But not like the most important thing, but numbers are a sign of like progress.
Yeah.
Either clients or revenue and that kind of thing. And when I was recently reviewing my accounts and I think, oh, right, yeah, I've actually made quite a bit of progress here. And then I think, oh, how much have I got lined up? And I'm like, I've got quite a lot lined up here. And then people always ask me as well. In fact, I may reword that actually. But yeah, so like people always ask me, yeah, will you ever drink again? Always, favorite topic of conversation. And I'm like, I don't know.
Don't know.
Like, there's no yes or no. But for me, when I look back in the last 3 years and I think, all right, yeah, I'm actually doing quite well. For myself, obviously, loads of people doing way better than me, but for me, where I want to be,
it's where you are.
I think I'd reword it to, like, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
And not what you think other people want to do. Because as soon as you do what you want to do, like, you'll be a lot happier in yourself. And also...
fulfilled as well.
And also, when you start trying to impress other people, just think that they may judge you for that 10 seconds, but everybody's so busy in their own lives that they won't think about you for that 10 seconds. Care. Like, don't get me wrong, yeah, if you do something weird, they'll be like, oh my God, Adam's an absolute weirdo. But they get on with their lives and they don't think of it until the next thing. So I think it would just be like, yeah, just do what you want to do and just be happy where you're at. And if you're not, then put some steps in place, and everybody's on their own timeline. That's the thing. And I will compare myself sometimes to other people, and I think
it's not.
They're doing quite well.
Yeah.
Oh, bloody hell, they're making a bit of money or whatever. And then I think, good for them, you know what I mean? And like, I'm 27, you know what I mean? And I'm still young, relatively. And it just...
We're hanging on.
Yeah. And as long as you're like being better every day or trying to be better every day on most days, then it's fine. And the advice I give to people to not drink is like, take it a day at a time. I'm not going to drink today. I'm not going to drink forever, because forever is a long time. If you can...
It's almost unattainable to just say forever today, isn't it?
And like you were saying earlier, it's like, if you can show up on the day and be like, right, I'm going to achieve this day. But if you have a shit day and just be like, it was only one day out of 365 or out of however many days that we've got, and just fucking do what you want to do. Don't care what people think. And then you should be a good person, and then you'll be sound, whatever you want to do. If you want to have a job, if you want to have your business, if you just want to be a good parent, a friend, or whatever. So yeah, that's going to be quite a big billboard. But
I was going to say, I've not got a budget for that bigger billboard, so we'll work on it and we'll get it back.
So what I'd do is I'd input that into ChatGPT. If you don't know what that is, it's an AI tool. So I'd put, write me a billboard in probably 10 words or less using the following information, what I just said, and then let it generate and probably make a few tweaks. But that's kind of the gist. Does that make sense?
Mate, like it. Big billboard. No, to be fair, I think better. We should just invest in a bigger billboard. We need to level ourselves up.
How much money are you talking? I said I was doing well, but maybe not.
We were going to go to yoga. I'm going to go sell some houses now just to get on there.
I need to sell my soul then. Yeah. Right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I very enjoyed myself. If you watch on YouTube, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment your favorite part. Any comments for Henry, leave in the comment section below. If you listen on Apple or Spotify, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review, and see you next time. Bye.
Ciao.